My beloved child, this is not an accident. This is not a random click. This is not just another message crossing your screen. God Himself sent Archangel Michael to interrupt your daily routine, because something very critical is unfolding behind the scenes of your life right now. What you were about to do, what you were planning next, what felt urgent a few minutes ago, He paused it on purpose. You still have minutes left, and heaven is using those minutes to reach you. Listen carefully. Archangel Michael stands close as this message goes forth, not with fear, but with urgency and authority. There are movements happening in the unseen realm that you cannot detect with natural eyes. Conversations, decisions, and alignments are taking place around your name. Some of them were meant to remain hidden, but God said, "No more delay. Interrupt them now." You may feel an unusual tension today, a strange pressure, a sense that something is off, even though everything looks normal on the surface. That is because your routine was about to distract you from a divine intervention. Archangel Michael was dispatched because what is unfolding is time-sensitive. If this message reached you, it means heaven calculated the timing perfectly. This is what you must understand first. What is happening behind the scenes is not random. It is strategic. There has been a silent buildup. Plans forming quietly. Words spoken when you were not in the room. Intentions disguised as kindness. And God, in His mercy, decided to reveal just enough to reposition you. Archangel Michael says, pay attention to the interruptions. The delay you experienced recently. The canceled plan. The sudden change in schedule. The unexpected pause. These were not inconveniences. They were shields. You were about to walk into something unprepared, and heaven stepped in before it fully manifested. That is why this message feels urgent. That is why your spirit feels alert right now. Time is involved. Minutes matter. Choices matter. Awareness matters. My dear one, this message is not here to scare you. It is here to wake you up gently but firmly. There is still room to adjust. There is still grace to redirect. There is still authority available to you, but only if you recognize what God is doing now, not later. Archangel Michael is known as the defender, the protector, the one who stands in spiritual warfare. He does not arrive for trivial matters. When he is sent, it is because something requires decisive alignment. Something in your daily routine was slowly pulling you out of position, little by little, without you noticing. God allowed it to go on for a moment, but not any longer. Here is the critical part. Someone around you is not showing their full intention yet. This does not mean betrayal in the dramatic sense, but misalignment. Their words and actions will soon contradict each other. When that moment comes, you must not second-guess what God has already warned you about. This message is your preparation. You may be thinking, why now? Because the window is small. Because the consequences would have been heavier later. Because obedience now prevents pain later. Archangel Michael says, do not rush today. Speed will work against you in this season. Silence will protect you. Observation will give you power. There is something you are not supposed to respond to yet. Something you are meant to watch, not confront. Let it reveal itself fully. My beloved child, God is rearranging your awareness before He rearranges your circumstances. That is how He operates. First, clarity and movement. If you stay sensitive, you will notice subtle confirmations within the next hours, small signs, repeated words, familiar warnings resurfacing. These are not coincidences. They are seals on this message. And hear this clearly. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not missing anything. Heaven reached you just in time. The reason you still have minutes left is because the outcome is not fixed yet. Your response matters. How you carry yourself today matters. What you say yes to and what you decline matters more than you realize. Archangel Michael is standing watch, but you must cooperate with wisdom. Do not explain yourself unnecessarily. Do not overcommit. Do not ignore your inner restraint. That quiet voice urging you to slow down, that is not doubt. That is divine caution. Something very critical is unfolding, but it will not overpower you. God never warns without also providing protection. This interruption is proof that you are covered. You are seen. You are guided. Take a breath. Let the noise fade. Say here in awareness, because what is about to be revealed next will connect the dots, and when you see it, you will understand why heaven moves so quickly to reach you. My chosen one, listen closely now, because the atmosphere around this message is shifting. What you felt earlier was only the alert. What you are receiving now is clarity. Archangel Michael is not only interrupting your routine, he is standing between you and something that would have drained your peace slowly, silently, day by day. This is why God insisted you hear this now and not later. There is a pattern God wants you to recognize. Certain situations in your life keep repeating with different faces but the same outcome. You walk in hopeful, patient, understanding, and you walk out confused, tired, questioning yourself. That cycle was never meant to continue this long. Archangel Michael says the repetition was not failure, it was exposure training. You were being prepared to see what others miss. Behind the scenes, someone hath been waiting for you to lower your guard through familiarity. Routine is dangerous when discernment goes to sleep. That is why God interrupted you in the middle of your normal flow. You were about to treat something serious as just another day. Heaven said no. This moment required attention, not autopilot. You may notice today that certain words suddenly feel heavy. Certain conversations feel forced. Certain invitations feel right. That discomfort is not negativity, it is instruction. Archangel Michael is sharpening your spiritual senses. He is helping you distinguish between what sounds good and what is God. Those are not always the same. Here is what God wants you to understand deeply. Not every open door is sent by Him, and not every delay is an obstacle. Some delays are divine barricades. Something was scheduled to progress faster than it should have, and heaven applied the brakes. If you feel slowed down lately, stop apologizing for it. You are not lazy. You are being protected. There is also something else unfolding quietly. A truth you suspected but never had confirmation for is beginning to surface. You brushed it off before because you did not want conflict. You chose peace over clarity. God honored your heart, but now clarity must come before peace. Archangel Michael says you will not have to confront aggressively. The truth will speak for itself soon enough. Pay attention to timing. Messages arriving late. Responses delayed. Sudden changes in tone. These are signaled. God often exposes intentions through inconsistency. When actions no longer match words, discernment becomes unavoidable. Do not explain this away. You prayed for truth, and this is how truth often answers. My beloved child, do not underestimate how valuable you are in the spiritual realm. If nothing important were attached to your life, there would be no resistance, no interference, no behind-the-scenes movement. The very fact that heaven intervened proves that your obedience affects more than just you. Someone else's outcome is tied to your awareness, Archangel Michael wants you to reclaim authority over your day. Start by guarding your focus. Not everyone deserves immediate access to your energy. Not every issue needs your emotional investment. Silence is a strategy right now. Observation is a form of prayer. Let others reveal themselves through time, not confrontation. If this message is opening your eyes, I ask you to support its reach. Like this video so the algorithm pushes it to those who are still unaware. Share it with someone whose routine may be hiding a spiritual blind spot. Leave a comment so others know they are not alone in sensing that something is shifting. Subscribe to this channel and join the community so you stay aligned with what God is revealing in this season. Your interaction helps this message travel further than we can see. And now hear this carefully. There is a decision coming that will look small but carry weight. You will be tempted to respond quickly just to get it over with. Do not. Speed will cost you insight. Archangel Michael says pause before answering anything that feels urgent but unclear. What is from God does not pressure you into confusion. God is training you to move with confidence, not impulse. That is why this interruption happened. You are stepping into a season where your yes carries power, and your no carries protection. Heaven is watching how you steward both. Something is aligning quietly in your favor as well. While one thing is being exposed, another is being prepared. You do not see it yet because God works in layers. First He removes what weakens you, then He introduces what strengthens you. Trust the order. Before this message continues unfolding, stay with it. What comes next will explain why this moment feels so precise and why Archangel Michael was assigned to this exact interruption. Hold on. You will want to hear what is about to be revealed. My beloved one, there is a holy stillness settling around you right now, and it is not accidental. This is the calm that comes before revelation. Archangel Michael is not only guarding you, he is positioning you. Something you have been sensing without words is about to take form, and God wants your heart steady when it happens. This is why He slowed your steps, softened your reactions, and sharpened your discernment all at once. What is unfolding behind the scenes is reaching its tipping point. The reason you have felt watched, evaluated, or subtly tested is because a line is being drawn in the spirit. Some people will not be able to cross into your next season with you, not because they are evil, but because their assignment ends here. Archangel Michael says separation is not rejection, it is alignment. Heaven never removes without reason. There is also something God wants you to stop blaming yourself for. You have replayed conversations, decisions, and moments, wondering if you should have done more or said less. Release that burden now. What was hidden from you could not have been addressed earlier. You were never meant to fight a battle you could not yet see. Timing was part of the protection. Very soon, something will be revealed through a small but undeniable moment. A slip of the time. A contradiction. A sudden change in behavior. Do not confront it immediately. Let it sit. Truth carries its own weight, and when you allow it to stand on its own, it removes all confusion. Archangel Michael says clarity will come without chaos if you remain still. God is also asking you to reclaim something you gave away too easily, your trust in your own spiritual perception. You felt the warning before the evidence appeared. You sensed the shift before the explanation arrived. That was not imagination. That was discernment. This season is restoring your confidence to listen the first time. There is a divine exchange happening now. As something unstable loosens its grip, something solid is wooing closer. You may notice a new sense of peace entering conversations that once drained you, or a sudden lack of interest in things that once consumed your attention. These are signs of elevation. When God lifts you, old noise loses its volume. Archangel Michael speaks clearly here. Do not chase closure. Closure will come through understanding, not apology. Some answers arrive without words. When God reveals truth, He also removes the need for validation. You will know, and that will be enough. This message is not about fear, it is about readiness. You are being trusted with awareness because you can handle it with grace. What you do with this insight matters. Choose restraint over reaction. Choose wisdom over urgency. Choose obedience over comfort. Heaven is watching how you steward this moment. There is also a blessing hidden in this interruption. By stopping you now, God prevented a longer delay later. But looked like a disruption was actually an acceleration in disguise. You are arriving sooner than you think, just lighter, clearer, and more protected. Archangel Michael stands as witness that what was meant to confuse you will soon strengthen you. What was meant to distract you will sharpen your focus. What was meant to drain you will teach you boundaries. Nothing has been wasted. If this message resonates deep within you, participate in this moment of alignment. Type "I receive divine clarity" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 911 has just been released. As I speak, I feel God saying that this message is not only for you but for many who are still moving blindly through their routines. When you support this mission, you are sowing light into places still covered by shadow, and that seed never returns empty. Scripture comes alive here as God declares, "As you release into my work, I release provision and protection into your life." I am personally inviting you to act as a vessel in this moment, because obedience now carries eternal weight. Just as Archangel Michael was sent urgently, your support becomes a divine response that keeps these warnings reaching the right hearts. I bless every giver as one who sows into holy ground, and I declare increase over what you place in God's hands. You super thanks. Join the membership or give through PayPal using the link in the description, and obey this prompting without delay. My precious child, now that the veil has begun to lift, you may notice an unusual mix of relief and heaviness in your spirit. Relief, because what you felt but could not explain is finally being confirmed. Heaviness, because truth often requires adjustment. Archangel Michael remains near, not to rush you, but to steady you as understanding deepens. This is the phase where wisdom must guide every step. What God is revealing now is not just about others. It is also about alignment within you. Certain habits, responses, and emotional patterns were formed in survival mode. They helped you endure past seasons, but they cannot accompany you forward. Heaven is gently loosening those patterns, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Discomfort here is not danger, it is growth. You may feel less tolerant of things you once accepted easily. Conversations that used to feel normal now feel draining. Environments that once felt safe now feel restrictive. This is not because you are becoming distant or cold. It is because your spiritual capacity has expanded, and small spaces can no longer hold you. Archangel Michael says, do not shrink yourself to fit familiar places. Expansion always feels lonely before it feels free. There is something important about the timing of this message. God waited until you were strong enough to handle the truth without hardening your heart. Earlier, this awareness might have turned into bitterness or self-doubt. And now, it will become discernment and peace. That is divine wisdom at work. God never reveals more than you can steward. Behind the scenes, a shift is also happening in how others perceive you. Some will sense your change without understanding it. They may test your boundaries or push for the old version of you to return. Stay calm. You do not need to announce your growth. Consistency will speak louder than explanation. Archangel Michael advises quiet firmness, not debate. You may also experience a sudden urge to reorganize your life in small ways, clearing your space, adjusting your schedule, pulling back from unnecessary commitments. These impulses are not random. They are part of spiritual housekeeping. When God prepares to move, He often begins by creating room. This is also a season of internal recalibration. You are learning to pause before reacting, to listen before responding, to pray before deciding. That pause is powerful. It creates a gap where heaven can intervene. Archangel Michael says many battles are won not by action, but by restraint at the right moment. Do not be surprised if memories resurface during this time. Past experiences, old warnings, previous lessons may come back to mind. God is connecting dots for you. What you lived through before was training. What you are experiencing now is application. The wisdom you gained then is meant to guide you now. There is a quiet invitation from God in this season. Trust me with the unknown. You do not have all the details yet because you do not need them. Faith does not require full visibility, only direction. And the direction is clear. Move forward with discernment, not fear. Archangel Michael wants you to know that you are not walking alone in this recalibration. Heaven is actively involved. You are being protected from missteps you cannot yet see. When something falls apart quickly, you not mourn it for long. That speed is mercy. You may feel tempted to seek reassurance from people who cannot give it. Resist that urge. This season is teaching you to anchor your confidence in God's voice, not human approval. When you learn this, you become unshakable. As this understanding settles, allow yourself to rest in it. You do not need to fix everything at once. Growth unfolds in layers. Today's task is awareness. Tomorrow's task will be action. Trust the process. Archangel Michael remains on watch, ensuring that what unfolds next will not overwhelm you. What once felt like a threat will soon feel like confirmation of God's hand in your life. Stay open. Stay observant. Stay grounded. What is coming next will deepen this clarity even further and reveal how this interruption is directly connected to a larger purpose unfolding in your life. My beloved child, as this message continues to unfold, you are stepping into a deeper layer of understanding. What began as an interruption is now revealing itself as an invitation. Archangel Michael has not only been guarding you from what was hidden, he has been guiding you toward what is next. This is the moment where awareness turns into preparation. There is a reason your spirit has become quieter lately. God has reduced the noise so you can hear direction clearly. When distractions fall away, it can feel empty at first, but that emptiness is sacred space. Heaven fills silence with instruction. Do not rush to fill it yourself. Let God speak without interruption. Something is being recalibrated in how you make decisions. Before, you relied heavily on logic, timing, or other people's advice. Those tools are not wrong, but now God is inviting you to lead with discernment first. Archangel Michael says you are being trained to recognize alignment before opportunity. What looks promising but feels unsettled is not for you. What feels peaceful, even if it looks small, is worth protecting. You may notice that your emotional reactions are changing. Situations that once triggered anxiety now bring clarity. Things that once excited you now feel neutral. This shift is important. It means your identity is no longer tied to external validation. God is anchoring you internally so outside storms cannot move you. Behind the scenes, a door you assumed was closing permanently is being redefined. God is not removing access. He is changing the terms. What once required effort will soon require wisdom instead. This is why patience is critical now. Rushing would place you back into old patterns with new consequences. Archangel Michael is emphasizing timing again. There is a temptation to act just to feel progress. Resist it. Stillness does not mean stagnation. In the spiritual realm, waiting is often active work. While you wait, God rearranges outcomes, conversations, and paths in your favor. There is also healing happening beneath the surface. Old disappointments are losing their emotional charge. You are remembering events without reliving the pain. This is a sign of release. Healing does not always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes quietly, like a weight lifting without announcement. God wants you to be aware of one subtle danger in this season: over-explaining yourself. When clarity increases, the urge to justify your boundaries can rise. You do not owe everyone an explanation for your obedience. Archangel Michael says what is God-led does not need constant defense. You are also learning the difference between responsibility and burden. Some things you carried were never assigned to you. You took them on out of compassion, loyalty, or fear of disappointing others. God is gently returning those burdens to their rightful owners. Let them go without guilt. Pay attention to what energizes you now. Where do you feel peace instead of pressure? Where does your spirit feel expanded rather than confined? These are clues. God often speaks through alignment of peace. Anxiety is not a guide, peace is. This season may feel quieter socially, but it is louder spiritually. You are not being isolated. You are being refined. Gold is purified in separation, not in crowds. Archangel Michael assures you that connection will return, but it will be healthier, clearer, and more purposeful. You may sense a growing confidence that does not come from pride. It comes from stability. You are beginning to trust that God truly has you covered. That trust will soon be tested, not to break you, but to confirm your growth. When the test comes, you will respond differently than before. Remember this: not everything requires immediate resolution. Some things resolve through time and truth alone. Your role is not to force outcomes, but to remain aligned. Heaven handles the rest. As this preparation continues, know that nothing about this process is accidental. The interruption, the clarity, the separation, and the quiet are all parts of the same divine strategy. Archangel Michael remains stationed, ensuring that what approaches you next will meet you stronger, wiser, and ready. What is about to be revealed will show you how this entire season connects to a greater assignment waiting ahead. Stay attentive. Stay steady. The unfolding is far from over. My chosen one. The reason this message keeps unfolding is because God is not finished repositioning you yet. What you are stepping into now is not just awareness or preparation. It is authority. Archangel Michael does not stand guard forever. He trains, equips, and then releases you to walk confidently. This is the stage where you stop merely sensing shifts and start moving differently because of them. You may notice that people respond to you differently now. Some become quieter around you. Some ask more questions. Some pull back without explanation. This is not coincidence. When your discernment sharpens, it changes the atmosphere you carry. Those who benefit from confusion feel exposed by clarity, even if nothing is spoken. Archangel Michael says your silence is louder than arguments ever were. God is also teaching you how to respond without reacting. There is a power in calm that unsettles manipulation. In the past, you may have explained yourself too much, defended your intentions, or tried to keep peace at your own expense. That season is ending. Peace that costs you truth is not peace, it is postponement. And postponement always demands payment later. Behind the scenes, something that once held influence over your emotions is losing its grip. You are no longer easily provoked. You are no longer desperate for closure. You are no longer chasing reassurance. This emotional independence is not distance, it is maturity. Archangel Michael says this is how spiritual authority looks in real life: quiet confidence, steady judgment, and controlled response. There is also a shift happening in how God entrusts you with information. You are becoming someone who can hold insight without immediately acting on it. That restraint is critical. Many people lose battles not because they lack power, but because they revealed strategy too early. Heaven trusts you now with timing. Be aware that clarity sometimes invites temptation. A temptation to write. A temptation to confront. The temptation to just say it. Resist that urge. What God is doing now requires patience more than passion. Passion without timing creates regret. Wisdom waits. You may also feel a renewed sense of responsibility toward your own spiritual growth. Prayer feels more intentional. Silence feels necessary. Distractions feel heavier than before. This is because God is increasing your sensitivity. The more sensitive you become, the less noise you can tolerate. That is not weakness. That is refinement. Archangel Michael is also highlighting boundaries again. Not harsh boundaries, but clear ones. Boundaries that do not need explanation. Boundaries that protect your focus. Boundaries that honor your peace. You are learning that saying no does not require justification. Alignment is reason enough. If this message is strengthening you, take a moment to engage with it actively. Like this video so it reaches those who are still unaware of what God is doing in their routine. Share it with someone who needs clarity instead of confusion. Leave a comment so others know they are not alone in this season of discernment. Subscribe to the channel and join this growing community, because staying connected will help you remain aligned as God continues to reveal what is ahead. Now listen carefully, because this next truth is important. There will be an opportunity presented to you that looks familiar, almost comfortable. It will feel like something you have done before, something you already know how to handle. But Archangel Michael says to look again. What looks familiar may be returning with different intentions. Do not assume. Discern afresh. God is training you to ask a new question before moving forward. Now, can I handle this? But is this aligned with where God is taking me? Ability is no longer the measure. Alignment is. Just because you can does not mean you should. There is also reassurance here. You are not missing out by waiting. Nothing meant for you will pass you by because of obedience. Delays that are God-led do not cause loss, they cause preservation. What arrives late but whole is better than what arrives early and breaks you. Archangel Michael wants you to know that heaven is actively redirecting outcomes around you. Conversations you were worried about will resolve differently. Situations you feared will soften. Paths that looked blocked will reroute. This is happening because you chose awareness over autopilot. Before this message moves further, stay present with it. What is coming next will connect your current clarity to a future role you did not expect but are being prepared for right now. Hold on. This is where the deeper purpose begins to reveal itself. My beloved child, now you are standing at a quiet threshold. Not a dramatic one that announces itself with noise, but a subtle crossing that changes everything once you step through. Archangel Michael is still near, but his role here is different. He is not blocking danger now. He is witnessing your readiness. This is the moment where heaven observes how you carry what you have been shown. You may notice that your inner dialogue has changed. Where there was once doubt, there is now discernment. Where there was once urgency, there is now patience. This did not happen overnight. It happened because you allowed God to interrupt you instead of resisting Him. Many people pray for change but fight the interruption that brings it. You did not. That is why you are here now. Something important is forming in your character during this phase: spiritual self-trust. You are learning to honor the signals God gives you without needing external confirmation every time. This does not mean you stop seeking counsel. It means you stop outsourcing conviction. Archangel Michael says this is essential for where you are going. The path ahead will require decisions that cannot be crowdsourced. Behind the scenes, there is a rearrangement happening that you cannot yet see. Roles are shifting. Influence is moving. Access is changing. You are being quietly repositioned while others are distracted by surface-level activity. This is how God often works. He moves His people in silence while the world looks elsewhere. You might feel moments of emotional distance from situations that once defined you. This can feel unsettling if you interpret it as loss. But it is not loss. It is transition. When a season ends internally, it ends before anything changes externally. What you are feeling now is confirmation that your inner season has already shifted. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that not everyone will recognize this change immediately. Some will continue interacting with you as if nothing has changed. Do not correct them. Let time do the revealing. When your responses no longer fit their expectations, understanding will follow naturally. There is also refining of motive happening now. God is checking not just what you do, but why you do it. Actions that were once fueled by fear of loss are being replaced with actions guided by peace. This is a critical shift. Fear-driven obedience exhausts the soul. Peace-driven obedience sustains it. You may notice that certain desires are fading without effort. You are not forcing yourself to let go. You simply no longer want what you once chased. This is one of the clearest signs of spiritual maturity. When God changes your desires, obedience becomes natural instead of heavy. Pay attention to how you respond to silence in this season. Silence is no longer empty for you. It is informative. In silence, God adjusts your vision. He shows you what matters and what does not. Archangel Michael says many answers you seek will not come through words, but through settled peace. There is also a strengthening of your discernment regarding people's energy. You are becoming more aware of how interactions leave you feeling afterward. Drained, anxious, confused, or calm, clear, steady. These after effects matter. God often reveals alignment not during interaction, but after it. You are also learning that not every truth needs to be spoken to be honored. Some truths are meant to guide your steps quietly, not to correct others loudly. Wisdom knows the difference. Archangel Michael affirms that restraint is not weakness, it is mastery. As this stage continues, you may feel moments of loneliness that do not come from lack of people, but from lack of resonance. Few may understand what you are experiencing, and that is okay. This path is not crowded, but it is purposeful. God often walks His chosen ones through narrow corridors before opening wide spaces. There is reassurance here as well. You are not being tested to see if you will fail. You are being trusted to see if you will steward insight well. Heaven already knows your capacity. This season is about confirming your consistency. If you find yourself questioning whether this quiet growth matters, remember this. Deep roots grow in silence. Trees that grow too fast topple in storms. God is building something in you that will endure pressure, not just impress observers. Archangel Michael remains attentive, ensuring that nothing enters your life prematurely. Timing is still being protected. When movement resumes more visibly, it will feel natural, not forced. You will not need to chase alignment. It will meet you. Stay present in this threshold. Do not rush it. What comes after this requires exactly the steadiness you are developing now. The interruption that began this journey is completing its work, and the purpose behind it is closer to being revealed than you realize. My beloved child, what you are entering now is not simply another phase, but a confirmation stage. This is where heaven seals what it has been building quietly within you. Archangel Michael stands not as a warrior here, but as a witness, because something is being established that cannot be undone. The interruption that once felt urgent now reveals its wisdom. God was not reacting to danger. He was preparing you for distinction. You may notice that your perception has widened. You see patterns more clearly. You recognize motives faster. You no longer need excessive explanation to understand what is happening around you. This is not suspicion. This is spiritual sight. God sharpened vision before he increases responsibility. Without vision, influence becomes dangerous even to the one carrying it. There is also a deepening calm within you that others may not understand. Situations that once would have unsettled you now barely move your inner state. That calm is not indifference. It is authority under control. Archangel Michael says this calm is a sign that you are no longer led by circumstances but by conviction. Behind the scenes, something that was delayed for a long time is finally aligning. The delay was not denial, it was protection. If it had arrived earlier, it would have pulled you into compromise. Now, if it arrives, it will meet you strengthened. And if it does not, you will still be whole. That is the posture God wanted you to reach. You may feel a strong pull to simplify your life right now. Fewer explanations, fewer distractions, fewer emotional entanglements. This is not withdrawal, it is focus. When God prepares to entrust more, he first reduces clutter. Archangel Michael says simplification is a sign of maturity, not lack. There is also a moment approaching where you will need to choose alignment over familiarity. Familiar voices may question your restraint. Familiar paths may invite you back. But your spirit will know the difference. Do not confuse comfort with calling. What feels comfortable is not always what is correct. God is also restoring something precious, your confidence in waiting. Waiting no longer feels like punishment to you. It feels like wisdom. You have learned that acting too soon creates wounds that take longer to heal than delays ever did. This lesson will save you many times in the future. You are also becoming more aware of how God speaks to you personally. Not through comparison, not through pressure, but through peace, repetition, and inner alignment. Archangel Michael affirms that this personal language between you and God will guide you where general advice cannot. This season has quietly taught you restraint, observation, and discernment. These are not flashy gifts, but they are powerful ones. They protect you when emotions rise. They guide you when choices multiply. They anchor you when others panic. Now hear this clearly. Something you once thought you lost forever was never taken from you. It was preserved. God hid it from misuse, including your own. When it returns, it will no longer be fragile. It will be stable, rooted, and secure. You are closer to this than you realize. Archangel Michael says the next movement will not require force. It will require recognition. You will know when to step forward because peace will lead, not urgency. Until then, remain steady. Remaining steady is not passive. It is powerful. If this message is resonating with your spirit, respond to it now. Type "I am aligned" in the comments if you feel this confirmation within you. Blessing code 1441 has now been released. I sense the Lord saying that many are still trapped in routine without revelation, and this message is reaching them because someone chose to sow. When you support this work, you are lighting lamps in dark places, turning interruptions into divine encounters for others. God declares personally to you, as you release into my word, I will release increase into your life, pressed down and overflowing. I am speaking directly to you now. Your obedience and giving is not small. It is prophetic. This is a moment to act, not hesitate, because delay is not your portion. I bless every giver as a carrier of light and declare open heavens over your resources. You super thanks. Join the membership or give through PayPal using the link in the description and obey this prompting now with confidence. My beloved child, now the atmosphere around you shifts once again, but this time it is subtle and steady, like the ground settling after a storm. What was once uncertain is becoming stable. What was once hidden is no longer confusing. Archangel Michael remains present, but you may sense him stepping slightly back, not because protection has ended, but because strength has been established within you. This is the phase where inner certainty replaces constant alertness. You are beginning to notice that your reactions are no longer driven by fear of outcomes. You are less concerned about how things will unfold because you trust that God is already ahead of you. This trust did not come easily. It was forged through interruption, silence, restraint, and waiting. That is why it is solid. Nothing shallow could have produced this depth. There is also a new kind of discernment awakening in you. Not just the ability to sense what is wrong, but the wisdom to recognize what is unnecessary. Some things are not harmful, but they are distracting. Some conversations are not sinful, but they are draining. God is teaching you that not everything needs your attention to be avoided. Some things simply need to be released. Behind the scenes, you are being discussed in rooms you are not present in. Not with hostility, but with recognition. Your consistency, your restraint, your change in posture had been noticed. You did not announce your growth, yet it became visible. This is how God elevates without exposing you to pride. He lets fruit speak quietly. You may feel a sense of emotional neutrality toward outcomes that once mattered deeply to you. This does not mean you no longer care. It means your identity is no longer tied to results. God has untangled your worth from success and failure. This freedom is rare, and it is powerful. When you are no longer controlled by outcomes, you can move with clarity. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this season is training you to hold influence without losing humility. Influence without humility attracts resistance. Humility without influence limits impact. God is balancing both within you. That is why this process could not be rushed. There may be moments now where you feel tempted to look back and analyze everything that happened. Resist overanalysis. Insight is useful, obsession is not. You have already learned what you needed to learn. Looking back too long can pull you out of presence. God is doing something new, and it requires forward attention. You are also becoming more comfortable with being misunderstood. Early versions of you may have tried to clarify, explain, were correct perceptions. Now, you understand that time reveals truth better than arguments ever could. Archangel Michael says this maturity protects you from unnecessary battles. His stage is also marked by emotional balance. Highs do not inflate you, and lows do not break you. You are learning to remain steady regardless of external fluctuation. This steadiness is not dullness. It is strength under control. It allows God to trust you with more without worrying that it will consume you. There is a quiet joy beginning to surface within you. Not excitement tied to events, but contentment tied to alignment. You are starting to enjoy where you are instead of constantly rushing to what is next. This enjoyment is not complacency, it is gratitude. Gratitude stabilizes progress. God is also refining how you listen. You are no longer reacting to every opinion or suggestion. You weigh words. You feel their impact before accepting them. This discernment will protect you from manipulation and misdirection. Archangel Michael affirms that discernment is your safeguard in the next season. You may notice that your prayers are changing. They are less about asking and more about aligning. Less about urgency and more about clarity. This shift indicates trust. When you trust God's timing, your prayers become conversations instead of negotiations. Something important is nearing completion in the unseen realm. You may not feel it yet, but soon there will be a sense of readiness, a quiet knowing that it is time to move forward in a new way. When that moment comes, you will not need confirmation from many sources. Peace will confirm it first. Until then, remain grounded. Do not rush the final moments of this preparation. Endings that are honored create beginnings that are strong. Archangel Michael continues to ensure that nothing interferes with this final alignment. The interruption that began this journey has almost fulfilled its purpose. What comes next will require action, but action rooted in wisdom, not impulse. Stay attentive, because the next unfolding will show you how all of this leads into a decisive turning point ahead. My beloved child, you have arrived at a moment of quiet readiness. This is not the loud breakthrough stage people often imagine. This is something deeper, steadier, and far more powerful. What God is doing now is confirming your posture before releasing your next step. Archangel Michael is still present, but now his role is oversight, not interruption. You are no longer being stopped. You are being trusted. You may sense a subtle shift in how you carry yourself. You are not rushing anymore. You are not reacting emotionally to every signal around you. There is a calm confidence forming that does not need applause. This confidence was built through waiting, through restraint, through moments where you chose obedience even when clarity was incomplete. Heaven remembers every one of those moments. Something important is happening internally. You are no longer asking, "What if this goes wrong?" Instead, you are asking, "Is this aligned?" That question alone changes outcomes. Alignment creates protection automatically. When you walk aligned, resistance may still appear, but it loses its authority to derail you. Archangel Michael wants you to recognize how far you have come. There was a time when confusion controlled your mood, when uncertainty stole your peace, when you felt pressured to decide quickly just to escape discomfort. That version of you has been refined. Now, discomfort no longer dictates movement. Discernment does. Behind the scenes, there is a final recalibration happening. God is adjusting the pace of what is coming to match the strength you now carry. If it arrived earlier, it would have overwhelmed you. If it arrived later, it would frustrate you. Timing is being perfected. This is why patience still matters in these final moments. You may notice that some doors are opening slowly rather than suddenly. This is intentional. Slow openings allow you to see clearly what you are stepping into. They give you time to evaluate without pressure. Archangel Michael says anything that rushes you now is not from God. Peace will always lead you forward. There is also a warning wrapped in wisdom here. Do not romanticize past seasons just because they are familiar. Familiarity can blur discernment. God has taken you too far to return to patterns that required less faith, but cost more peace. Honor what you have outgrown by not revisiting it. You are also being trained to handle visibility with humility. As influence increases, attention follows. As attention follows, temptation rises. God is grounding you now so that future recognition does not distract you from purpose. Archangel Michael affirms that humility will keep you protected when praise increases. If this message hath been guiding you, take a moment to engage with it. Like this video so it continues reaching those who need clarity in the middle of their routine. Share it with someone who may not realize God is interrupting them for a reason. Leave a comment so others know they are not walking this path alone. Subscribe to the channel and stay connected, because what is unfolding does not end here. It continues to build. Now listen carefully, because this is important. There will be a moment soon where you feel prompted to act, but without the emotional rush you use to associate with action. That is how you will know it is time. Roulette movement feels calm, not chaotic. It feels firm, not frantic. When that moment comes, trust it. You may be tempted to wait for everything to feel perfect before moving. Perfection is not the requirement. Alignment is. You will never have full visibility, but you will have enough peace to proceed. That peace is your confirmation. Archangel Michael says you are stepping into a phase where your presence alone will bring stability to situations that used to unsettle you. Others may not understand why you are calm, but your calm will become a reference point for them. This is influence without force. Do not underestimate the power of consistency in this season. Small, aligned actions will produce greater impact than dramatic, emotional decisions ever could. God is building longevity into your path, not just momentum. If at any point you feel tempted to rush ahead just to finally move, pause. Rushing now would undo the precision of what God has built. Precision requires patience until the very end. Before this message continues, stay with it. What is about to unfold next will bring resolution to the urgency that started this journey and reveal why you were given time, clarity, and protection all at once. Hold on. This next unfolding ties everything together in a way you may not expect. My beloved child, you are now approaching the resolution stage of this divine interruption. What began as urgency has matured into understanding, and what once felt like pressure now feels like purpose. Archangel Michael remains attentive, not because danger is near, but because transition is sacred. Heaven treats moments like this with care, because what is about to settle will shape how you move forward for a long time. You may feel an unusual sense of emotional closure, even without formal endings. Conversations did not happen. Apologies were not spoken. Explanations were not exchanged. Yet inside, something feels finished. That is not avoidance, that is completion. God does not always close chapters with words. Sometimes He closes them with peace. When peace arrives, questions lose their urgency. There is a growing clarity in how you see yourself now. You are no longer defining your worth by how useful you are to others, how much you tolerate, or how much you carry. That old measurement system hath been dismantled. God has redefined your value around obedience, alignment, and integrity. This internal shift is subtle, but it is foundational. Archangel Michael says this is the stage where many people get tempted to revisit what God already resolved, simply because it feels quiet. Do not confuse quiet with unfinished. Stillness does not mean stagnation. Seeds grow in silence. What God planted during this interruption is developing beneath the surface. You may also notice that your emotional reactions to people from the past have softened. Where there was once frustration, there is now neutrality. Where there was once longing, there is now acceptance. This does not mean those connections were meaningless. It means their purpose has been fulfilled. Gratitude, not regret, is the correct response. There is also a refining of your expectations happening now. You are learning to expect less from people and more from alignment. This protects you from disappointment and positions you for healthier connections. When expectations are placed correctly, relationships become lighter and clearer. God is also restoring your sense of personal authority. You are no longer waiting for permission to honor your convictions. You no longer feel the need to explain why something does not sit right with you. Discernment has become reason enough. Archangel Michael affirms that this authority is quiet, but it is firm. Behind the scenes, there has been a shift in how obstacles respond to you. What once resisted you now moves aside more easily. What once felt heavy now feels manageable. This is not because challenges disappeared, but because your posture changed. When posture changes, resistance loses leverage. You may sense a growing desire for depth over distraction. Superficial engagement no longer satisfies you. You want meaning, clarity, and purpose in what you invest your time and energy into. This is not isolation. It is discernment refining your priorities. This stage also carries an important lesson. You are not responsible for convincing others of what God has shown you. Revelation is personal. Responsibility is individual. Your role is to walk in truth, not to argue it. Time will validate what you live out. Archangel Michael wants you to know that heaven is pleased with how you handled this season. You did not panic. You did not force outcomes. You allowed interruption to do its work. Many would have rushed past this moment. You stayed. A choice mattered. You may feel a quiet excitement beginning to surface, not tied to a specific event, but to possibility. This is hope returning in a mature form. Not naive expectation, but confident anticipation. You trust God not because everything makes sense, but because experience has taught you His timing is precise. As this phase settles, allow yourself to rest mentally and emotionally. You do not need to be on high alert anymore. Discernment does not require tension. Awareness does not require anxiety. Peace is now your default posture. There is one final adjustment happening now. God is aligning your inner rhythm with His pace. No rushing, no dragging, just steady movement when prompted. This alignment will guide you accurately in what comes next. The interruption that once felt sudden has now become a foundation. It did not delay you, it redirected you. It did not confuse you, it clarified you. It did not weaken you, it strengthened you. Stay open, stay grounded, and stay receptive. What remains will be revealed not through urgency, but through confirmation. The final unfolding is near, and it will bring closure, blessing, and release all at once. My beloved child, this is the moment where everything settles into place. What began as a divine interruption now reveals itself as divine orchestration. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Every pause, every delay, every inner check you felt was heaven guiding you precisely where you needed to stand. Archangel Michael is present here not to warn, but to affirm. You made it through this season with obedience intact. You may feel a deep sense of resolution right now. Not excitement, not urgency, but certainty. Certainty that you are no longer where you were. Certainty that you did not miss your moment. Certainty that God's timing has proven itself again. His certainty is a gift. It anchors you when emotions fluctuate and circumstances change. What God has accomplished through this interruption is protection with purpose. You were shielded from misalignment, preserved from premature decisions, and refined for clarity. Many people never slow down long enough to hear God. You did. That choice altered outcomes you may never fully see, but heaven records them all. Archangel Michael says the threat that once lingered no longer has access. What was unfolding behind the scenes has been neutralized, not through confrontation, but through awareness. Awareness disarms deception. Clarity dismantles confusion. You were never meant to fight loudly. You were meant to see clearly. There is also a release happening now. You are being released from old vigilance, released from second-guessing yourself, released from the need to constantly read between lines. God has recalibrated your inner compass. You can trust it again. When something is right, you will feel peace. When it is not, you will feel restraint. That is enough. You may notice that your prayers now carry authority instead of desperation. You are no longer begging for answers. You are aligning with direction. This is spiritual maturity. It is the fruit of walking through an interruption without resisting it. What comes next in your life will not announce itself with chaos. It will arrive quietly, steadily, and securely. You will recognize it not by excitement, but by peace. That peace will guard you as you step forward. Archangel Michael affirms that heaven considers this season complete. The interruption has done its work. The clarity has settled. The protection has held. And now you move forward not rushed, not fearful, but ready. Before we close this message, seal what God has done here. Type "I walk in divine timing" in the comments if you receive this completion in your spirit. Lesson code 2024 is now activated over you. As this message reaches its completion, God is speaking to those whose hearts are stirred not only to receive, but to release. When you support this work, you are helping divine interruptions reach souls who are still stuck in routine without revelation. The Lord declares personally, as you sow into my word, I will cause rivers to flow back into your life, and you will lack nothing. I am speaking to you directly now. Your support is not charity. It is obedience aligned with heaven's timing. Do not hesitate in this moment, because obedience delayed is opportunity missed. I bless every giver with increase, protection, and clarity, and I declare that what you release now will return multiplied in ways you do not expect. You super thanks. Join the membership or give through PayPal using the link in the description, and act now as a vessel in God's divine flow.